already.
Have you been exposed for COVID laziness or productivity? Stay tuned. Oh, wrong button. Welcome to episode 321. Have you been exposed by COVID for your productivity or your laziness? Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Bergio, and Mark Novak. How are you, Mark?
Good, thank you, Mr. Bergio.
Morning, Anmal. Good to have you on. Alrighty, this is going to be an interesting topic. I think Mark and I are quite passionate on a couple levels of this. It's grinding our gears. We've got a couple real estate related examples, and then we've got some general business examples. And hopefully, when you've listened to this and watched this, you will know if you've been exposed and potentially ways you can correct it. I think the biggest thing.
You may be a victim. You may be a perpetrator.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, I want to say how the residential market of COVID has gone compared to the commercial market is like chalk and cheese. We've seen the residential market go gangbusters, and it's been very strong. Everyone's very proactive, but the commercial market, it's basically brought out everybody's excuse or fear of not to buy to the forefront. And I think COVID, everyone is using COVID as a big excuse not to go ahead with the transaction, regardless if it's valid or not valid. And a brief example would be, let's say you're looking to buy an investment property and you're worried about the tenant surviving or being able to have the funds. And that's a valid excuse. But let's say it's a brand new tenant who entered the property or entered that lease agreement under knowing what's happening. They had been assessed to know that they had the finances to get through the next 12 months, potentially if they had no sales. Like if you're entering a deal for a rental property for 5 years, but under COVID, you would do your own sort of checks and balances to make sure you have the money basically, and the agent would look at that as well. So when a buyer looks at that property and they sort of use COVID as an excuse going, oh, can they afford it? Can they do this? Well, I don't see that as valid when it's a new tenant entering the deal under the COVID conditions. Like it's not like they entered in it last year and they're like, we need these amount of sales to make it work. And if for whatever reason something stops, we can't afford it. Like, that,
I'm just calling bullshit on most of it. Bullshit on most of it because, where tenants are genuine in their request, and there's tenants that are just absolutely stupid on their request, and it's just really frustrating to witness this. Like, go try to spend $100 in a shopping mall and watch how hard it is due to COVID. And it doesn't need to be that way. It's just because people are not innovative and being stupid. Like we went to, we spent I think half a day because it was a bit windy and hot on Sunday at Westfields, and I'm just walking around shaking my head, watching people just wither away money. I'm talking business people by not assisting or helping due to COVID. They are using it as an excuse not to trade and not to do business, and then they are moving that excuse over to their landlords. I'm calling bullshit on it. It's just stupid. Like, I'll give you an example. We went to the Apple store. The Muppets there, there's a line of 50 people outside. So we line up, like we need a case for the phone. And, case, you sort of want to look and feel, yeah? It's a case for a phone. No better place to go for a case than a bloody Apple store. But, you want to see what it's like. It's not like you can buy it on spec. So we get halfway through the line and probably 10, 15 minutes into the line, lady walks up and says, "Hi, how can I help you?" And Lise goes, look, I want to get a case, and we sort of had that feeling we maybe bounced. So we said, oh look, it already started. We said, oh look, maybe you want to buy a phone as well. And
dangle the big
great.
carrot.
Great. Have you got an appointment? No. Okay. Well, there's a line, and everyone in this line is here with an appointment to buy something. And would you like to come tomorrow? The next appointment's tomorrow. So you're going to buy a bloody case for a phone in COVID times. Now we've had like how many weeks of zero in the country? How many weeks of zero have we had in New South Wales? These guys are acting like absolute muppets.
Yes.
They're muppets. And then they turn around to their landlord to say business isn't the same. I wonder why it's not the bloody same. I'll tell you what I would be doing if I was...
And they're not servicing people, and obviously we're not taking away the health stuff, all that, we get that, but there's a way to
around it.
Do it safely. Like, we're not saying don't do any precautions, just for people out there, but there's ways that you can do it safely and still do your deal and still do business. That's the point of today. There's people just say, no, COVID can't do it. Well, it's like, well, why don't you do it this way? You still comply with the safety stuff, but you're still doing deals on any level, from selling a property to buying a phone case. And tell us what you would do, but you had a great example with the massage. That's a perfect example of instead of doing nothing, you tick the box of doing a deal and you tick the box of safety. But a lot of people just say, no deal, safety, nothing. And then you're right, they come to the landlord saying, COVID, we can't pay rent.
Business isn't the same. Business isn't the same because you're acting like a muppet.
Yeah.
So at the end, these guys in the Apple store line everyone up, social distance everyone out, and give them what they want. Do you know what I mean? Like, just... there is a way around it. You don't, that you can operate under COVID times, respecting the health and still doing more business. Because all we did was walked out of the store, took the business and took our money and went up to JB Hi-Fi, deal done. And the guys in Apple are acting like muppets. And the JB Hi-Fis are still achieving social distancing. The guys in JB Hi-Fi are still maintaining their numbers in the store, but they're just not being muppets. These guys are temperature testing us. They got gloves on. They look like there's a bunch of surgeons in Apple. It's like, man, come on, let's move on. But the JB Hi-Fi guys were still equally respecting COVID. When I'm not rubbishing COVID. I'm just saying there's a way around it. Next thing you know, we go to get a massage. Right, like we're walking past the store, let's go in there, see if they got room for two. No room for two. And again, this is affecting our landlords because they're not paying the rent. I want to draw it back to that.
Yes.
But, we go to the lady and say, look, when's the next time you can, like a foot massage? Lisa wanted one. Oh, we can do that in 2 hours' time. And I look inside the shop and they've got a 1.5 distance thing on every second. They got 30 chairs. Every second chair, they got a 1.5 meter different thing on it, right? So for 9 months, this massage place has been turning away half of its customers because they simply can't seat them. And it's like, mate, at the end of the day, put that, what do you call that, Perspex stuff up?
Yeah, like a plexiglass plastic, a wall basically.
Put the plexiglass in between every seat and then continue business as usual. But, again, they're paying, they got half the customers, they can't pay the rent, but the customers still want the service, but people aren't doing it.
Exactly right. And that's a great example, or adapt or die. So make it work. And we're seeing too many people out there not choosing to adapt and just using it as an excuse. No one's going to pay your rent for you. You've got to adapt. And we are seeing great businesses do that, aren't we, Mark? They're adapting, they're doing online. So it's not everyone, but we're still seeing a lot of people use that excuse from the ground up, but even more so in that commercial market with buying. I've got these 4 listings where brand new tenants all under the COVID. So I can understand maybe properties which were at least prior older tenants who weren't expecting this. And be wary of those properties when you're vetting it. But instead of just throwing your hands in the air and just saying, no, COVID can't do it, it's crazy.
Find a way.
find a way, vet them. If they've got money in the bank, are they still operating? You're just sort of living in fear. And I think it's not smart.
Look, we've got to find a way to better service customers with COVID, because at the end of the day, it's not going to go away in a month, a week, or a year, or even maybe 3 years. This is a thing we're going to be carrying for a long time. Find a way. You know,
Exactly.
it's a retailers, business people, find a way.
Exactly right. And or whenever issues come up, you're just adding elements to your process. So, all right, you're looking to buy an investment property last year. You may not have to do as many checks on the tenancy and what they do, but COVID's happened. It's here. It's more likely going to be here for a while. So instead of that function stopping, people are going to need to buy property. People are going to need to sell property. So you've just got to add those elements to it and work through it.
These guys, as an example, these guys in Westfield that I'm talking about that are doing the massage, like how long did they have to go through in their head until they work out they put a Perspex glass in between every chair? Like, is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? At what point do they have to, or are they just going to turn around and say that they don't have a sustainable business anymore because they need double the meter in square meter in their business, which they don't?
Yeah, exactly. Where else are you seeing this, Mark? What's the message out there for people who are business owners?
The message out there is look at yourself in the mirror and see how you can better service customers around, how we can better serve in this environment. At the end of the day, our job's to serve. I think as an employee or employer, our job's to serve. And at the end of the day, we've got to look, this is not going away, and we've got to find better ways to serve. And if you're just going to blame the COVID or, COVID, Corona, whatever we want to call it, it's not going to get you anywhere. You're stuffed. You're cursed.
100%. And you know what? People who are doing that now, they more than likely do that with every element or aspect of their life and their business. So you've just got to, like you said, have a look in the mirror, because if you're doing it here, you're doing it in other aspects of your business, and that could be really holding you back.
And life.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that's anything else you want to add on to that? Or that's pretty good.
That's a wrap. I think, and for our owners, for our landlords, I can see the frustration, because it's pretty obvious when they're looking at these businesses that they can't see these guys, the guys that are asking for rent relief, that are genuine in their request, and having a hack and working hard in these times are deserving, and the guys that are just simply not even opening for business or choosing to compete in business, and you're the landlord of those guys, it must be pretty frustrating. I know we had one of our tenants had on their counter since COVID, 15% less for cash. Like they're promoting the workaround, and then they walk up to the landlord and say they haven't accepted cash in 6 months, and they want rent relief. And it's like, man, and then, operating half the hours that they would normally, and they're a cafe. And it's like, mate, seriously, that's really taking the mickey out of their owners. We've got to be working harder, stronger, faster, smarter in these economic times of COVID.
That's a very good point. Like, if you look at that massage parlor, for instance, if you're that owner, and just because you have that property doesn't mean you're flush with cash.
Massage parlor. That's such a bad word, eh?
Yeah, that may be your only income. You may have the large mortgage on that, and if you walk past it and see them basically half of the business is not on, and then they're asking you for relief, it's hurting everyone. So anyway, I think
the customers want to spend the money, Michael. The customers have got the money to go out and drop $100 on a massage, but they're walking in there, they're saying, no, sorry, we can't see you for 4 hours or till tomorrow, whatever, because they're not being innovative in the way they're using that space.
And the customers know the risk. Like, for health, if they're not happy with that, then they won't go to you, but give them the option rather than just shutting them away.
Yeah. And look, as an example, I think council's been terrific. A lot of cafe businesses have asked for outdoor seating to be exempt under COVID times, and council's been wonderful. So
Yeah.
I think that outdoor seating through summer is going to explode with commercial properties, and I think council's going to help it explode as well. But the cafe person has to be innovative and ask. Council will often give it to these guys for free because of COVID. So they've got to ask for that extra outdoor space. It may not even be in front of their shop, but it's just because of COVID times, and council will allow it. That's the innovation we need to be promoting.
Yeah, very good point. And that's the message here. Don't just accept the status quo. Look at workarounds. Keep the safety and health in mind, but keep the service up for customers. I think that's a wrap.
If you don't want to innovate it due to COVID, you are going to get spanked by COVID.
And someone will, and you won't have a business.
Yeah, someone else will. That's right.
Perfect. Alrighty, Mr. Novak. Thanks, ML. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning as well.
See you guys. Love you. See you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.